Hey, 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 what's good, fam? It's Tuesdays with Tawana. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another Tuesdays with Tawana. I am your host and your curator, Dr. Tad, for Tuesdays with Tawana, where we gather every Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. We do this to share, to vent, to release, to build community, one womanist episode at a time. Uh, yeah, I just love being in community this way. And for today, for those who are watching or engaging for the first time, welcome. If you are live on Facebook, you can always pop, your greetings, comments, questions, concerns in the chat, and I will insert your voice into this narrative. If you are catching this later through other platforms like Instagram or anywhere you find your podcast, there is always room to make comments and I will respond accordingly. Uh yeah, so let's get it popping on today. I literally decided to pop on today 5 minutes before 2 o'clock because I am tired after an amazing weekend in New York. I don't know if everyone had an opportunity to share in Soul to Soul Sisters' amazing moment where this is Black Maternal Health Week from April 11th to April 17th. And Soul to Soul Sisters had a billboard, a one-day electronic billboard in Times Square that said Black birthing is beautiful, and where we had an opportunity to uplift one of our beloveds who shared with me how Soul to Soul Sisters has been just an intricate part to her thoughts around birthing and pregnancy and doulas and midwives and joy and having a healthy experience. So I am grateful. Let me see if I can pull up the billboard while we are talking and sharing. Yeah, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can, said the little engine that could. Um, let's see if we can. Yeah, I think that's it right there. I think that's it. Um, Let us cancel this, and I think you see the billboard. Black birthing is beautiful. Together, we will empower Black mamas wherever they are on their perinatal journey. And then there's a QR code there. If you scan the QR code or go to our website, it is a landing page that shares all of our events for this week. So this is Jess and her beautiful son. And we are just so grateful to Jess for sharing in this birthing moment with us. Hey, Mother Carolyn, always good to see you. So, yeah, on Friday, that event happened, and we had about 20, 15, 20 people who gathered with us from, staff to board members to supporters of Soul to Soul Sisters to family. We were just so grateful with our Soul to Soul Sisters t-shirts on. So look out for our comms team. I will not get ahead of myself. I know my role, I know my lane, and I will wait for comms to put this out and then share it accordingly. But we had a beautiful videographer by the name of Lost. Go on to Instagram and pull up Lost Shots, SHOTS. Follow him, support this young beloved who did amazing work for us. Shout out to our photographer, Paris. You can follow Paris as well on Instagram, Paris Marcel, Marcel, another Black beloved who is on social media, who does fashion, who does photography, who does political artivism. I am so honored to have Paris as my designer for my upcoming clothing line. So, yeah, shout out to Black businesses, hence this episode being named Black. Full stop. Do I see Jan in the building? Oh, welcome back, Jan. I know it's been a while. It's been a while. I've missed you for sure. So grateful you are here joining us today. And I, was just sharing about the great things happening with Soul to Soul Sisters and Black Maternal Health Week. As many of you know, I am the co-founder and the current executive director. We are soon to be 9 years old, which is just unheard of in nonprofit land. It should be the norm and not the exception to the rule. And we are so grateful that we are a part of the longevity and hope that our paradigm and our framework and what we do can set the example for other nonprofits who are doing the work to have long life as well. So, um, one other thing I want to mention is a huge shout out to our Black Civic Engagement and Policy crew who was honored at the Capitol in Colorado on Friday. So we had big things going on in Denver and in New York. So grateful they were honored for the work that Soul to Soul Sisters is doing regarding Black civic engagement and policy. Lauren, who is our Black civic engagement and policy manager, got a shout out from yeah, some beloveds. And Shan, we are so grateful that you are on the team, working alongside Lauren. So yeah, shout out to everybody. Even with the billboard, it just exemplified Blackness at its best and how we come together in our various skills and gifts and talents and come together to put together such beautiful work, whether it's the billboard for Black Maternal Health Week, inserting the Soul to Soul Sisters Black narrative into a narrative that often ignores us or tries to silence us. If you looked around at the time I was looking at the billboard, when you looked at other promos and billboard, it was big companies and, eh, just not speaking to Blackness at all. So to be able to insert our beautiful Black voices in that narrative was absolutely amazing. What's good, fam? Good to see you, lovely queen, in the building. Thank you for joining. Um, it was just so amazing. And there are times when, we have opportunities to insert our Black narrative into these spaces because, as we know and we have come to realize, or um, maybe not even come to realize, it's something that we knew all along, but now it's even more blatant and more obvious, and it's hitting us in ways that it's impacting us in so many different ways. We have, DEI being equated to basically, the N word, because we don't want y'all in the building. So we're going to remove DEI. They're removing scholarships that are focused on Black beloved students. They have already, taken out books that are written for and by Black beloveds to tell the truth about the history of this nation. Um, Arizona just passed a horrific bill regarding abortion, and for a teaching moment, reproductive justice for us, for Black beloveds, it's not equated to abortion. Abortion is a part of my right, my body, my choice. Reproductive justice is also about health justice and economic justice, and um, Black beloveds striving and fighting to live and not die at the hands of systemic ills that take the rights of our bodies away or don't pay attention to our bodies or our voices when we're telling beloveds that we are in pain, or, we were diagnosed with X, Y, and Z, and doctors just don't honor us, they don't see us, they don't believe us, they make assumptions and judgments. So, reproductive justice, Black Maternal Health Week, all of that is such a bigger picture um, that speaks to various things. I am truly considering my approach with this podcast because, of course, um, being on Facebook and Instagram, um, I am silenced. Like as soon as I mention Palestine, it's going to trigger something where this video will not be made available to everyone. And if I try to promote it on my Dr. Tad page, it will be denied and declined. So even in this venue, this space that is supposed to foster community and have an opportunity to have this freedom of speech that invites a dialogue, and should invite a dialogue and some modicum of respect and honor and dignity, because freedom of speech just doesn't mean you could say what the hell you want to say and degrade me and demean me and ostracize me and dehumanize me. That is not the intent of freedom of speech, yet it is being used in that way to continue to dismiss us. So when we talk about Blackness, and bringing together a diaspora of those of African traditions and cultures, we in the United States, of course, is a social construct that was designed and developed to put us in this bucket of marginalization and dehumanization. The word Hispanic is a made up term to group a bunch of people together because people don't take the time to say, I am Brazilian American or Dominican American or Haitian American, or that it's just, from, and it's not all Latin countries, right? So we can't even say Latinx or Latinos and Latinas because it even goes beyond that. But we are so stuck on putting labels on people and not for the beauty of the culture. So, as Black people do, we've taken this social construct and now we have used it as a socio political stance on how we show up in the world and how we invite others into this space that who do not identify as African American. Others may identify as Caribbean American or Brazil, just other Black beloveds, Afro Latina, those who are from Latin countries that were a result of being brought through the you- le- brought into that space through the transatlantic slave trade, and they ended up in the Caribbean or in Latin America, South America, and in North America, particularly the United States. And it's just this knowledge that we have, and white people may or may not have it, but they definitely don't want to use it for our humanization, for including us into a narrative that was never designed for us to begin with. When we think about amendments, and we think about the Constitution, and we think about laws, and we think about the Supreme Court, they are not including us intentionally, because whiteness, people from different areas, whether it's European or Irish or whatever, they now have come together to form this thing called whiteness as an elitist stance and an elitist label that then puts this hierarchy on those who are non-white. So they are at the top, and now can, institute laws and uh, systems like policing, systems like uh, Ivy League schools, systems like evangelical evangelical churches and Christianity, all of these systems that were not designed for us to live, let alone survive or thrive. So for this moment, when we talk about Black, when we talk about being Black, um, it is more than what others try to put on us. Y'all know I'm about to quote Audre Lorde: if I don't define who I am, I will then be crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive. And that is exactly what is happening to us right now in so many different forms, in so many different mediums. So, not to be a downer, not to be like, oh, this is so depressing, this is so negative. So, we name these things so that we can address them. We can dismantle them, because we can't fix what we did not create, that wasn't designed for us to begin with. Like, we can't fix these systems um, because we're so deeply entrenched and deeply impacted by these heinous systems, that we have to learn how to step out of those systems and say, okay, how can I build systems and structures that are going to work for me and my beloveds for the liberation of all? Because we don't want to get into this civil war, right, with white people and non-white people. Although, if non-white people were cohesive and community and honored and respected each other in our own dignity and in our own way, then we just might have a chance to turn this country around. This country that is a laughing stock of the world, this country that continues to pump money into a place that is committing genocide because they are supported by the powers that be. If you look at the history of political donations, and this is public record, you will see that many of our politicians that even look like us are funded by Israel, that are funded by the NRA, that are funded by evangelicals, that are funded by those that do not have our best interests at heart, which then drives what politicians say and what platforms they decide to speak out against. Yeah, okay, I'm grateful that the vice president, talks about reproductive justice. And I'm gonna need you to step up and talk about the genocide that's happening in Sudan right now, that has been happening over the last 3 years. What is going on in Palestine that has been going on for years, but was heightened since October. I need you to name and talk about and bring to light what's going on in Haiti. But you can't do that, Vice President, because your supporters are also those that is causing this genocide, that is actually enacting these heinous things. So then you tend to fall under the guise of those that have the power because you want to hold on to some sense of power. We are indoctrinated into this heinous system of this hierarchy where whiteness, white thought, white power then prevails over an egalitarian system, over diversity, equity, and inclusion. We wouldn't need that if the systems were built for us. We wouldn't need affirmative action if the systems were built for us. We wouldn't need to put a billboard in the midst of Times Square talking about Black birthing is beautiful if we had medical equity, if we had economic equity, if we had economic justice and medical justice. If we had all of those things, we would not need to put a billboard in the middle of Times Square. We wouldn't need to be honored at the Capitol in Colorado if these things were in place that worked for us and not against us. If it wasn't this hierarchy, if it wasn't about oppression and marginalization, how is it that people who have felonies on their records, how are they told that they cannot vote, yet you are allowing someone with 80 plus counts of criminal behavior against him, and he is still allowed to run for president? It is because he is white or and white thought. With Clarence Thomas, although his skin might look like mine, his thought is rooted in whiteness and is rooted in power and control. And how do we allow these Supreme Court justices to have lifelong assignments when it is not rooted in the greater good of community? Why is it that Biden is not adding on to seats while he is in office? It is because those that are lining his pockets for political prowess and political power, he cannot do that because then they will take away their money. And we know that money is more powerful than humanity as it relates to whiteness. My beloved Reverend, grace and peace unto you, beloved. Thank you for always supporting. I truly appreciate you. Hey, sis, good to see you. Glad you are here. So, when we talk about Black, right, even so my clothing line, I won't disclose the name right now, but it has to do with Blackness and healing, because in this country, Black is considered bad, or religions that practice anything outside of Christianity and maybe even Islam, but Vodun or Ifa or you other religions that have rituals, right? That may either wear black or it's deemed as bad, but in reality is that in other cultures, white symbolizes a mourning, right? Mouring, right? And black represents new life and new birth, rebirth, right? So we even in our color, in defining our color, then look at black as being bad and white as being good. Like even some songs that we sing over the holidays, or religious songs, Christian songs that say, cleanse me white as snow. All of that is very intentional about lifting up whiteness. And beloved, I am here today to lift up blackness, to lift up black. Full stop. To lift up black beloveds, black community, black thought, black creativity, black divinity, blackness, black humanity, black intellect, black co creativity that comes in a way that ends up benefiting all. So when you attend to Black women, who is the most degraded and demeaned and disrespected group, when you tend to Black women, everyone then benefits from it. When you focus on the needs of Black women, everyone then benefits from it. When you focus on the needs of Black beloveds, everyone then benefits from it. Because if you have blackness and you are looking at what is needed there, and you address the needs, and you hear of the pain, and you acknowledge the joy, and you see them as human beings, see us as human beings, then in that moment, everybody else will then benefit from what we have benefited from. Why does that happen? Well, I'm glad you asked. Yes, Mother Carolyn, we lift up Black. Hey, Lisa, good to see you, beautiful lady. So let's talk about lifting up Blackness for a moment. So, in the inception of this country, the reason why the white people went to West Africa is because we were so and are so creative. We are so divine. We are so immaculate. We are so beautiful. We are so strong in so many different ways. We have everything that we possibly need right here within us. And it took someone else to recognize that, to break up the community and the tribes and the villages and the power that we had. They intentionally divided us. They intentionally took away our language. They intentionally took away our religiosity. They intentionally took away and imparted a different type of Christianity versus what we already knew. Because yes, we knew of Jesus back in Africa, but it was definitely a different type of Christianity than what we honor and acknowledge here in the United States, and then brought us over, split us up, castrated us, raped us, pillaged us, demeaned us, dehumanized us while we raised their children, while we taught their children to read, how we taught their children strength and divine prowess, and looking at themselves as being, but then they took it, they twisted it. As my friend Reverend Carey said, this twisted theology, they took it and then used it for their own self aggrandizement instead of using it for community, which left us on the margins. So now, since we are all on the margins, we are of greater number than those that are in the center with power and control, if you will. And if we would only come together in our blackness, then we would be able to have the power to be in seats that are making decisions that are not conforming to the ways of those who are focused and rooted in whiteness. We can then honor each other and come together and agree to disagree, because we are not always going to agree. There is some Black person that is going to watch this that says, well, Dr. Tad, I don't agree. And that is fine. But then tell me, what do you agree with? And then we can find out those pieces that come together so that we can survive and thrive and not die at the hands of systemic ills. Being Black is about a stance. Being Black is about divinity. Being Black is about being unique. Being Black is about not being able to be created into something that we don't naturally have. The color black, how do you make the color black? White is not even a color. So, how do you take something that is so naturally intertwined into being? How do you take something that is so pure and so powerful and turn that into a beautiful, powerful culture that you cannot even create? Only we can create that and co create that, and then shift the narrative in this country, speak up and speak out against the genocide that is happening, not take or give any funds to places like Israel, places like Russia, places that don't have our best interests at heart. And we use our blackness because it is undilutable. It is unshakable. It is something that exists with so much power that it takes light, not whiteness, but light in order to bring the darkness into the fullness of what it is. Even at night, when we have the moon shining so brightly, the darkness still exists. Even during the day, right now, it is nighttime somewhere because we always exist. And darkness is not necessarily this bad thing that is equated to our blackness. There is a difference between darkness and blackness. There is a depth to it. There is some community that's a part of it. In blackness, in being black, we have so much power, and we don't have to put up with any of this. We do what we do, Soul to Soul Sisters and other organizations and people, beloveds on this call. We do what we do so that we can live. We, not I. I am because you are. Ubuntu. The late Desmond Tutu says, my humanity is inextricably bound to yours. And in blackness, I'll leave you with this. Beloveds, let us learn the difference between blackness and ethnicity. Our ethnicity comes from many places, and we have adopted this communal view and thought of blackness to bring us together so that whiteness could not tear us apart. But in that blackness comes, I might be Creole from Louisiana. I might be Western from Texas. I might be straight up Harlem, beautiful culture, good morning, queen, good morning, king type behavior. We have to think about our ethnicity and the cultures that we bring with us that white people try to um, uh, steal, appropriate, misappropriate. And we got to hold on to that in the midst of our blackness. So we're not going to couch blackness under whiteness. We are going to redefine, reshape, and recreate along with our beautiful ethnicities. Like we're going to sit around the table and talk about how we come together while we're eating soul food, while we're eating Ethiopian food, while we are eating Polynesian food, while we are gathering together and learning different languages and dances. We are going to learn what these dances and these rituals mean so that we can come together, even in our own individual spaces, and begin to call on the ancestors in our Blackness to then incorporate and imbue that power in us so that we might come together. So, no, this video might be blackballed, and I don't give a fuck. This video might not be played and have 20, 30, 40, a million views. If I can talk to one person that has some semblance of leadership prowess and who is out there that can speak truth to power at the Capitol, or speak truth to power because they're on uh Good Morning America, or they can speak truth to power because they are the principal of a school, or they can speak truth to power because they don't need the white person's money. They are going to build their own libraries and have their own books. We are going to speak truth to power at Soul to Soul Sisters, where we have a bookstore. If you go onto our website, it's blackety black, black, black. And that's because we're not asking anybody else to pay for our website. We're not asking for anybody else to pay for these books. We have to invest in ourselves. When we get to a point where I don't need your whiteness to come into my Blackness to try to dilute the power that exudes from me and my community, I don't need it. I don't want it. And then, surprise, the game has been changed. The narrative has been shifted. The leadership looks different. The leadership is more diverse. The language is more diverse. It is more inclusive. I don't need you to approve my DEI. Companies, I need y'all to stand up and step out against what is going on, because you know what? Let's talk about money. The bottom line, if you don't have diversity and equity and inclusion, it is going to affect your bottom line adversely. How do I know that? I've done the research. Yeah, it comes down to money. I want you to do it for the right reasons. And I just want to remind you that if you get rid of DEI, you also get rid of your profits. You also get rid of creativity. You also get rid of a different way of doing things where your business is booming because of the creativity of the BIPOC community. Yeah, it's about money. You want to get rid of our history because you're ashamed, and you're ashamed of what your foremothers and forefathers did. Listen, you tell us to get over it, I'm going to need you to get through it. I'm going to need you to get to a point where you own what you and what your foreparents have done, and take accountability, and you can still have your little power. You can still have that. But I need you to get off my back. I need you to stop. I was going to say, get your foot off my neck. And I am going to say that because you did that to George Floyd. I'm going to need you to stop killing me when I'm trying to live and not die, as a part of the 41% of Black beloveds who are dying from breast cancer as compared to white people. I'm going to need you to atone for what you have done, and how this country and other places was built on you being a colonizer, you being a conqueror, you stealing and robbing and taking people's culture and killing beloveds so that you can buy land. You know why the Gaza Strip no longer looks like the beautiful Gaza Strip that it was? Because they, Israel and others, want to come in and build big buildings and all that and make money because that land is profitable. So it's profits over people. Beloveds, I need us to know that we know that we know that we are beautiful, we are brilliant, we are unique, we are Black through and through, and we must come together with our cultural prowess, our divine prowess, our intellectual prowess, our communal prowess, our familial prowess, all of that, and come together and be the change that we want to see, especially in this election year. Because I tell y'all right now, if 2025 don't go a certain way, if these elections in 2024 that then speaks to what happens in 2025, I'm out. I don't know where I'm going, but I can tell you this: I am not going to sit under number 45 again. as number 47. I will not. Full stop. I will not. Because that whole debacle with Chick-fil-A and really thinking that we're stupid. Like, and I'm mad at the people that got excited when he walked in. I wish they would have just turned their backs on him. I wish we had the prowess and the power and the know-how to not fall for the okey doke. And then he gonna use AI to like, uh uh enhance some pictures for hugging people. And some people did hug him. Yes, brother Jeff, I shall not. I shall, and I'm gonna do everything that I can to make sure that I insert this narrative into the popular narrative that is happening to dismantle it. Wake up, white people. Yeah, you think your silence will protect you? Oh, Audre Lorde said, oh no. You think your silence is protecting you right now because you're not speaking up and out against what's happening? Wait until the elections. You go ahead and keep silent because it's going to begin to harm you until you do right by us. Silly from The Color Purple. So, speaking of which, let me end with this because I absolutely love this song and I think it is empowering for us as Black beloveds, embracing our culture and who we are. Sealy in the song I'm Here says, I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm going to hold my head up. I'm going to put my shoulders back and look you straight in the eye. I'm going to flirt with somebody. As they walk by, I'm going to sing out, because I believe I have inside of me everything that I need to live a bountiful life and all the love in me. We stand as tall as the tallest tree. And I'm thankful for every day that I'm living, both the easy and hard ones I'm given. But most of all, I'm thankful for loving who I really am. I'm beautiful. Yes, beloved, you're beautiful. And we are here. This is Dr. Tag with your dailyish freebie, showing up unapologetically Black. And as Brother Jeff would say, salute, beloveds. Sawabona, which means I see you. I see the divine in you. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo.